And not only that, I would say another mistake I see a lot of chiropractors and CAs make when they're speaking to patients is, yes, they need to know what a subluxation is, but we need to speak to patients at a 4th or 5th grade level, because whatever we're saying to the patients, especially if we're asking a referral statement, they, number one, have to retain what we just said, but number two, they're going to have to repeat it to the person they're trying to refer, right? So if we make it super complicated, I mean, yes, we 100% want them to know what a subluxation is. We can do quizzes or fun stuff in the office so that they learn about that, or give them a handout.
Welcome to the Chiropractic Authority Podcast. Now, if you've been here for a while, you might be thinking, oh, wait, wasn't this called None of Your Business with Robert DeLude, the podcast dude? Yes. Yep. Same feed, same voice, same mission at the core. Just a clear focus. We didn't start a brand new show on purpose. Over the years, None of Your Business reached a lot of people: entrepreneurs, creators, operators, people overcoming challenges in their life, looking to build something real. And along the way, chiropractic kept showing up again and again and again. Not as a trend, but it literally changed my life. Chiropractic is one of the most understood, undercommunicated, life-changing professions out there. So instead of walking away from the audience that already trusted the show, we decided to evolve it. This podcast is now primarily for chiropractors, especially those who believe chiropractic is bigger than pain relief, bigger than crack videos, bigger than $29 specials. Chiropractors who see this work as a calling, a philosophy, and a responsibility. But here's the bigger play. A good portion of you listening right now aren't chiropractors. And that's intentional, because the more people actually understand what chiropractic is, what it stands for, and what it can do, the bigger impact it becomes. So whether you're a chiropractor looking to lead, communicate, and build real authority, or someone who's followed this podcast from the very beginning and is curious to finally understand chiropractic beyond the surface, you're in the right place. This is the Chiropractic Authority Podcast. Let's get into it. So we are... Whoa. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of the Chiropractic Authority Podcast. And today we don't have a chiropractor. We have the Chiropractic C.A. coach. Miranda, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah. I love your content. You like I would say that on average, I'm in chiropractic offices more than the average patient, and I see the C.A.s who just act like they are, a receptionist. And I saw your content and I'm like, she's doing something different. Okay. So I'm intrigued. I honestly want to get right into it, because if people are like, why should I stick around if a CA is on? Like, they're just a receptionist. No, send this, like, doctors, send this to your CA, send it to your receptionist, whatever. We're going to get right into it. Miranda, let's start with the number that you made that made me reach out to you. On a single day, oh my gosh, wow, why is my computer glitching? You made $58,000 in a month, is that right?
In a day, in one day.
In a day.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll give everybody on here 6-figure reasons to stick around, and why you'll want to be on this podcast and have your CA listen is, as a chiropractic assistant, in just 30 days, I took my office from collecting $100K in 1 month to $348K in 1 month, meaning we more than 3x our income in just 30 days, right? And yes, I did collect $58,000 in 1 day as well.
Wow. Okay. So $58,000 in 1 day. What are you doing different?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, it all also depends on, the office, how it is, the care plans, your price points, all of that. But you can always collect more based on the communication, your intent, your bonding with the patients. And what I say I do different is I ask the questions a lot of times that people are uncomfortable to ask or unsure. So many times what will hold CAs and even doctors back from really helping patients get the care they need is they don't want to come across as pushy, or they don't want to come across as salesy, or they don't want to be embarrassed, but I treat the patient that's sitting across from me like they're my 80-year-old grandmother who desperately needs this care, right? Like, what would I want somebody to say to her, which is a story that like really happened, right? Like a chiropractor literally saved her life. And I want to make sure that before they walk out, that I've exhausted every possible opportunity, resource, that I've asked all the questions to help that person get the care that they need. So I would say that's the biggest kind of jump. Right now, depending, I'm not sure when people are going to watch this or when it comes out, but it's kind of near. We've got about a month and a half left in the new year, right before we go into 2026. And what I'm telling all my CAs is to treat every single day from here on out like it's December 31st. Because if this was down to the wire, the very last day for you to meet your collection goal or meet a bonus or help that person get the care you need, you'd probably go a little harder, ask a different question, or be like, what do I have to lose? And one of my CAs, she's absolutely phenomenal, Maria. She's been in CA for 24 years. So she's like seasoned, right? And I just had a one-to-one call with Maria the other day, and she showed me her little Post-it. She put a Post-it on her computer that says today's December 31st. And she was telling me how it really does make a difference with the patients, that she's getting them to sign up for care that they might not have otherwise. Cause she's like, what do I have to lose? It's like the last day, even though it's not, it was like November 19th when I talked to her, but it's that mentality where she's just giving more, right? And she's not stressed. She's not working more. She's not busier, If anything, when you get more intentful with your words, you can actually do less and work less. So I just went on a tangent right now, but I get excited.
I love it. I love it. You said something that stuck out to me, that you said chiropractic care saved your grandma's life. Is that how you got into being into chiropractic?
Okay, so this is the crazy thing. This just happened recently.
Oh, okay.
It happened with my grandmother, but my grandma is also in a way part of the reason that I got into chiropractic. So do you want to go into a little bit of my story and transition that way? Or? Okay.
Yeah.
So backstory, imagine 20-year-old Miranda, and I'm going to age myself. I'm going to be 42 in December. So coming up here. So about 20 years ago, I was working at Radio Shack. All right. Back in the day, I don't think they even have Radio Shacks anymore. And I remember just walking into work one day, and I just felt this twinge, and my back like went out, and I couldn't stand up straight. And I didn't know like what was going on. And my coworkers at the time, they thought I was faking it. They thought I was just trying to, they were like, what 20-year-old has back pain, right? And I remember going to the back break room and like literally all dramatic, sliding down like with my back on the wall to the floor and just crying because they thought I was faking it. And I was in so much pain. I was scared. And my memory is a little fuzzy because again, this was 20 years ago, but I remember my grandma taking me basically to the ER, and all they wanted to do was give me like prescription Advil. They couldn't tell me what was going on. So I ended up being in bed for almost like a week. I couldn't stand up straight. I was walking like really funky, and it ended up kind of going away. Fast forward, I started working for a chiropractic office. And while I was working for that chiropractic office, my back went out again, but this time it only lasted a couple days. And so I could see the difference in my body of like being under chiropractic care versus not as well. And so my grandma had kind of encouraged me to work there and take the position and all of that. I'm kind of thinking about my story now, like where I go through this. I'll circle back to my grandma. But basically while I was working for this doctor, I remember thinking to myself at 20 years old, like, is there a school for chiropractic assistants? Nurses have to go to school and get a degree and take all these classes. And I'm like, here we are educating patients, helping them get the care they need, doing a bit of sales even. But like, we don't have a degree, but what we do is so important as well. And so I remember telling my DC, I'm going to start a school for somehow, like, I don't know what the logistics are or what it is. I'm going to start a school. And I kind of got put on back burner. And so I was there for a couple of years and then ended up moving to San Francisco. and kind of took a little brief hiatus from chiropractic. And at that time, I started managing a nightclub. So total switch, right? But I was a marketing manager, did copywriting, big scale events, worked with celebrities. And it really taught me about the power of an event, about how the words you use, the extra effort you put out there, like all the little tiny details, how you have to make sure the mic's working, or if it doesn't, like you always have to have a backup plan in a way, and how having a word or not having a word on a flyer could make or break a successful event, right? And copywriting skills, all of that. And I was missing chiropractic. Like I love doing the events, making memories, but I wanted to go back into helping people in the health field. So I came to work at a chiropractic office. It was my last office. I was there for 8 years. It was a NUCA office. And I kind of brought those skills back into chiropractic as far as marketing, copywriting, those kind of things. And my chiropractor was a member of a chiropractor coaching program, like a DC coaching program. And so we had some training. The group, I'm still in contact with them. I have a lot of their C.A.s as clients. The main doctor, Dr. John Baker, is absolutely amazing and really worked with kind of high level DCs. But there was still that area where it wasn't by a C.A., like someone who had sat in the shoes. And the analogy I kind of use is it's almost like, and I say this with so much love, but it's like a bar back teaching a bartender how to bartend when they've never bartended. You know, they've just Googled. And like chiropractors went to school to be chiropractors, to take care of patients. That's the magic gift that they have. They didn't go to school to know copywriting and verbiage and sales or front desk, like how to answer the phone. Like there's a technique to it. There's a mastery to it as well. So, you know, it's like we're teaching, the chiropractors are teaching, but they've never done it. And it's just a different. And so back when I worked at a nightclub, I always said the best managers of the nightclubs were the ones that knew how to bartend, knew how to bar pack, were the janitors. They knew every single piece of that business because they did it, right? And so not a lot of chiropractors have done like the front desk fully, or maybe they've multitasked when they're first starting out, but not really been in that position. And so I kind of had that little itch in me, remembered what I said about starting a school, and started this program 2 years ago. So
awesome.
And it's kind of like everything kind of all jammed into one. And I'll talk about my grandma in a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to share that part for the backstory there.
No, you go from being a nightclub manager to managing C.A.s and helping the world. You know, so why I'm a big fan and why I'm so passionate about chiropractic is I got into a car wreck when I was 14, and my best friend at the time, his dad was a chiropractor. My family told me if I go see his dad, I will die. So I never went to a chiropractor. I went to doctor after doctor after doctor, PT after PT after PT. And they were just like, yeah, you're lying. I was like, no, I'm not lying. Like, I'm in pain. So fast forward 14 years later. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. 13, 14. I was in 7th grade. So fast forward years, I am at an event, and it's like a mastermind event, and part of the package was to get adjusted. And I was like, okay, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to get a pack of potato chips. Like, heck yeah. And I laid on the table. I like inhaled, exhaled, lift up my legs. They told me to get up. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're going to do like, you know, crack my neck, like something else. And she's like, how do you feel? I was like, are we done? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, first off, I feel like I got ripped off. Like, what? She's like, how did your shoulder feel? And I'm like, what the? Like, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It, like, 30 seconds from something that had over a decade in my life. So what you're doing and what you're teaching, like, you're making C.A.s better at transferring emotion and information so people get the care that they need. Because for me, I didn't get the care that I needed because the narrative was DCs are quacks. Chiropractic isn't real. If you, whatever, like the thing is, I didn't go. It was go have surgery, go take a painkiller instead of going to this doctor and potentially finding relief, which I got relief 14 years later with, like, it was just insane. So when someone is looking for a CA, the interview process or whatever, do they need to know what a subluxation is to be hired?
No, absolutely not. Because that's, well, I was going to say that's what you have me for, to teach them. But no, I would say not at all. I mean, okay, so let's talk a little bit about hiring then, because the number one mistake I see chiropractors when they're hiring is they're either A, looking for somebody with experience, somebody with billing or with that's worked in an office setting before, right? And they're so like laser focused in on that they leave out some amazing, because everything is coachable. And you can coach how to learn subluxation or how to take a payment or how to do billing. You can't coach personality. You can, but it takes a lot longer. It's a lot more difficult. And so my number one suggestion when it comes to hiring is 100% somebody that walks in your office and they're a 10 out of 10. They're beaming, they're smiling, they have an amazing personality. You also do need to make sure that they can like do the math and do the basics, right? But as long as they can do the basics, you can coach them on everything else. So I would say always go with personality, because you can train what a subluxation is. And not only that, I would say another mistake I see a lot of chiropractors and C.A.s make when they're speaking to patients is, yes, they need to know what a subluxation is, but we need to speak to patients at a 4th or 5th grade level, because whatever we're saying to the patients, especially if we're asking a referral statement, they, number one, have to retain what we just said, but number two, they're going to have to repeat it to the person they're trying to refer, right? So if we make it super complicated, I mean, yes, we 100% want them to know what a subluxation is. You know, we can do quizzes or fun stuff in the office so that they learn about that, or give them a handout. But even just saying like, you know, do you know somebody with like a pinched nerve, or somebody that like they're a little bit off? Sorry, you might hear my Great Dane barking right now. We have one. I just heard him. But thinking about like, how can we make it so simple that the patient can also repeat it to their friends or post it on social media, kind of thing. And circling back to, I would say sometimes when DCs are hiring, there's kind of 3 types of C.A.s, if you will. There's the front desk personality, which is that kind of, my DC coach would always say, he would say they're like a golden retriever, right? They're that warm, bubbly, like that personality based, you know, that's what lights them up. They'll leap up if they see somebody like walking outside, they'll like come outside and like greet them. You know, they just have that like ooze enthusiasm, right? Then you have the back office or the office manager, and Dr. Baker would always say they're like the pit bull. They're tenacious, they're solid, they're steady, they're a little bit more analytical and detailed. They still have that personality, but you know what lights them up is structure. And then we have a hybrid, which is kind of like a border collie. They multitask, right? They can do a little bit of everything. And a lot of times chiropractors want to hire a hybrid first, and that actually burns out that hybrid. They need to have, so it would be like a front desk you would hire, then as you're growing a back office, and then as you're scaling a hybrid to kind of bring it all together. Does that make sense?
With that, this is kind of off topic, but do you recommend that the receptionist or whoever's answering the phone is in the back office, or are they at the front desk on the phone when people walk in?
That is a good question. So the majority of the offices that I work with, I usually would say the front desk, because they're patient facing and they have that personality.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that you have your front desk. So for example, one of the trainings I first do in offices is we make role play fun, because role play can be scary, right? But that's like really, you can have, I saw this thing on the internet once where it's like, you can't learn to swim from watching a YouTube video, right? You got to swim in order to know how to swim. And so it's the same thing when you're training, anything, or even as a doctor doing a report of findings script, right? Like you gotta get the work in, you gotta get the reps in. So like a fun role play would be that there's a new patient walking in while a current patient is getting adjusted that just spilled coffee, and then there's a baby crying and the phone's ringing. And so like we somehow got to multitask all these things but have fun with it and kind of see, and it kind of pushes us outside of our comfort zone a little bit, but in a good way, because when we're laughing, our barriers also go down and we're kind of enjoying it, but it also kind of raises your standard of what's possible, what you can do. So I would say that the front desk should be the one to answer the phone. But what we did at my office is I was the back office. So I was technically, I've done it all. I've done front, back, hybrid, but I was more of a financial CA. Like I spoke to patients about the money, getting them on their care plans. Obviously with, what I collected. But I was trained so that if the phone rang 3 times, I would pick it up because I knew the front desk was busy. So every time the phone would ring, if I started hearing it go to the third one, I would immediately pick it up. So it just was instinctual in me. So it went to her, and then I was the next line of support. So that would be my suggestion.
I love that. Third ring, pick it up. That's because third, fourth ring, I know me, I'm hanging up because after the fourth, whatever ring, they're probably like, oh, lunch break, whatever. Okay, well, who's the next chiropractor that I'm going to call? Or am I even going to?
And this is the thing where I reframe a lot of CA's mind, where I said like sometimes they can feel pushy or so. So what I hear a lot when I say this to CAs is they're like, well, I don't want to be rude to the patient standing in front of me. And I'm like, okay, I want you to put yourself in the patient's shoes. If I was at an establishment and I'm talking to you, even right now, like let's just say we're on this podcast and for whatever reason your phone started ringing and it's just ringing and ringing, I kind of be looking at it like, are you going to pick that up?
Oh my gosh, I'm not going to lie. It was ringing right now. My brother's calling me. Okay, oh my. Oh my.
I thought I heard it too. It was on vibrate, right?
Yeah, I thought I'd turn.
We gotta go play the lottery after this to get some winning numbers. We got some good numbers. Oh my gosh. Wow. It's like, energy work and all that stuff too, and bringing that into the office. That's why all of that just happened.
Yeah, I must have turned the Wi-Fi off and do not disturb. My bad.
Which actually, let me make sure mine is on do not disturb as we're doing that, which okay. But yeah, so that is the case. Like, or I would think if I'm calling you as a patient, are you just gonna let it ring? Are you not gonna be available for me? So CAs think of being nice by not picking up. Like I've even been on coaching calls and the phone's ringing and I'm like, hey, like I know you're on your call with me, but like if that's a patient, you got to get it, right? The way you just do it is you just say like, hey, I'm so sorry, give me just one moment. Pick up the phone, say, your line, whatever your greeting is, and then I don't normally suggest putting on hold, but if you're the only CA, then in that case you would do that, but it's because then if I'm the patient, I know like, okay, if I call in, she's going to take care of me. But I also know I got to kind of talk fast. If I'm one of those patients that, gossips and sits at the front and talks all the time, I know like, hey, I got to go because she's got to do work. So.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. How do you think the ownership mentality is coachable?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Which, by the way, sorry, I get red whenever it's like hot in here. So for everybody watching, I'm going to be flushed on this, but it's okay. I know it. I see it. I'm aware of it. Just a heads up. We'll laugh about it.
I get the same way.
But yours are probably bright red right now. It is what it is.
Yeah. People are like, why are you always red? I'm like, that's just my face. So I get it.
We gotta come up with a witty response for that at some point. I'll think of something. I'll workshop it and get back to you on that so we can get oh shoot, I just digressed. What was it you asked me? Oh, coachable. Is ownership mentality coachable? When your CA gets on board with the mission, when they see lives being changed and before and after x-rays or before and after scans if you don't do x-rays at your office, when they see that and they know that they're more than a receptionist, when you instill that in them, they almost can't not get that type of mentality, right? And another suggestion that I will say, I hear a lot from chiropractors that I personally suggest to have team targets as far as like office collections, new patients, all of that, and to share those targets with your CA. And what I hear from a lot of the DCs is they don't want their CA to know how much they're making, like the collections. I said, well, first of all, just because you're making that on paper doesn't mean that's profit. That doesn't mean that's going in your pocket. And you can tell your CA that. They'll understand, right? But second, they say that they're scared for their CA to know how much they're making because then they might ask for more. And I'm like, well, if that CA does that, then they're not the right fit for your office, right? Is what I say. So when your CA can also see that their impact with them getting that new patient scheduled and the family scheduled is directly affecting the collections and reflecting the stats, I also suggest giving bonuses because as long as they earn it, right? Then they do get on board with you because they feel like I'm affecting this office, like I'm a part of this office too. So it is definitely coachable.
Can you tell if someone has the ownership mentality in an interview?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I actually, so part of with my one-to-one VIP is coaching. I do pre-interviews when doctors are hiring. And you know how we talked about the different personalities of a front desk or back desk? That also, when we talk about copywriting, that also goes to your ad. The ad that you're placing calls out to different personalities. So that's where the copywriting comes in. So you're calling in that right energy to your office too. But I will do a pre-interview call with all my clients, and I can tell from a text message if that CA is potentially a right fit for the office. And usually
you can tell by a text?
Most of the time, not all the time, but especially if you're hiring for that front desk personality. I mean, I've had some CAs that have reached, or potential CAs reach out to me, and the first text message is maybe rude, or just like what I'm looking for in that first text message is somebody whose personality I can feel off reading the text. Because that's the type, especially if you only can hire a front desk right now and you need that golden retriever energy, that is naturally going to come out when someone texts you. Let me see if I have it. Oh, my phone's been a little funky because it's full right now, so I need to clear it out. But I just got a text from a potential CA, and I could just, like, she was like excited. You could tell. She's like, hi. I could feel her energy over the text. And I knew, like, okay, this is someone that when new patients call, she's going to greet them with love. And I've had other CAs that are just very like monotone or short and not sweet and almost too professional in their texts too.
Well, you definitely, like, every time you text me, I definitely feel your energy. So
thank you.
Like, I was like, man, she's just like awesome. I love your energy. So if people can't tell already, she has amazing energy. Your content's awesome. We're not done, but I like asking this question about halfway because nobody ever pays attention at the end. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Good question. Okay, so definitely I'm on Instagram. That's where we found each other. And I got lucky enough to grab the @Chiropractic Assistant handle. So you literally just put in @Chiropractic Assistant, look for a blonde woman on the phone. Most likely that's my header right now, and that's me. You can also go to my website, which is CALifecoaching.com. Although I am going through a rebrand right now. I switched it from CA Life Coaching to CA Growth Coaching because I realized a lot of people thought I was a California life coach.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah. So, but we do life coaching as part of it because mindset is very, very important. So that will always be a part of the program. But I would say for the most part, and I'm going to do something a lot of people don't do, but I'm fine with it. Is number one, you can just Google my name, Miranda Dancin, DANCISIN. But also, I give out my cell phone number because I believe in just reaching out to me and bypassing everything else. Like, just text me and ask me any questions if you're listening to this and are like have anything. So my personal cell is 408-893-3005. So just reach out to me. I'm human. Let's talk.
And if I remember, I will put that in the show notes, but that's only if I remember.
I'll text you to make sure you remember.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes I'm really good at putting links in the show notes, and other times I'm like, hush, I totally forgot. Oops. But
Totally good.
yeah. Anyways, okay. So you're a coach, obviously. That's why we're here. Not why we're here, because you're an amazing person. That's why we're here. But
Thank you.
what is your multi-year prepayment script for C.A.s?
Okay. Do you want to do a role play?
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay. So, see, I'm like instinctual. Like I grab a clipboard and I go right into a pen because it's like so ingrained in me. So I'm just going to do it like we did it at my office. And again, every office level is different. Some people do packages for their maintenance. It all depends. People call it wellness, lifetime, whatever it is. We did yearly at our office just to keep everything consistent. Okay. Cool. So, and we were in San Francisco, so big city, so the numbers were a bit higher. So again, just keep that in mind. But okay, so Rob, we just the doctor just did the report with you. Okay. And your x-rays are up on the wall, so I'm coming in and just saying, so all right, Robert, we're gonna graduate you into maintenance. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. All right, so let's do it. So the good news is, the doctor has seen some amazing results. I know you even said that you've been coming in feeling taller, like your energy is absolutely amazing. I know you've been like working out more and just, I would say that the real magic happens in maintenance care. I've been a C.A. and adjusted here for almost 8 years, and I've just seen amazing changes happen in my body throughout this time, like ongoing. So you're in great hands, and Dr. Meekum's going to take great care of you ongoing. All right.
That's ongoing is what, like once a year or what?
Oh, so let me go over this with you. Okay. So in your particular case, Dr. Meekum is saying that you're still be coming in one time a week for maintenance. Okay. So if you were paying per visit, which you're not, that would be about $18,000. So pretty much a car right there. However, you qualify now for our special maintenance rates. So instead of the $18,000, it's just a flat $3,200 for the entire year.
32. That is.
Yeah, so $3,200 for the entire year. And then I noticed, so with the one time a week, I noticed you were doing Monday, Thursdays. Why don't we keep you on Thursdays? Because that way you can get in and out and go do the workout at the gym around the corner that I know you like to do. Thursdays.
I'm sold. I'm sold already.
Okay. But I got more for you. Okay, so gotcha, patient. But okay, so our actual rate was 42 at the time when I left, but I just used 32 to kind of keep it not too big for like the offices that have lower rates too. But okay, so Robert, you put it on your visa last time, or just put it on the same one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. And then what I want you to do is I want you to put in your calendar, just kind of know that November is going to be renewal date every year. Okay, so that you know that. And then something that our patients actually love doing is you can actually prepay for multiple years. And our patients love to do this because number one, it keeps you at the current rate right now, right? So like whenever we do price increases, which just as a heads up, the doctor's actually been talking about raising the rates in 2026. So it's really good that you had your report now.
Absolutely.
You get locked in at the now rate, and not only that, you get an extra $200 off each additional year, just as like an early payment discount. So some patients will do 2 years, 3 years, 5 years even. What sounds good for you?
I don't know. I am feeling good, but what about if I just do like 1 year? I don't know, and maybe come back.
You can absolutely do 1 year. I just like mentioning it, especially because at the end of the year, and I mean, knowing that the doctor's going to do a price increase in January, my goal is just to save you money. The one thing that I really do like that the doctor does is if for whatever reason you end up not using that second year, say you like move to Hawaii or something fun, then what we do is we just refund it to you because you haven't used it yet. So it's kind of nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really cool because then you get to lock in the savings and then you have that there, you know, as needed. And so our patients absolutely love this.
Oh.
And actually, I can still honor that 2025 rate for you as long as it's paid before the end of the year. So if you want, I can even split up that second payment like November, December for you.
Yeah, that actually, you know, holidays are coming around, and you know, I was more worried about you know, Christmas presents. So yeah, if you could split it up like that, that sounds way better.
Yeah, I got you. So well, you just got a Christmas present to yourself. So Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
That's what I would do. Okay, so but that's kind of how I would do the multi-year. And the biggest one we ever got, although it was chunked up because technically it was someone who had got a 5-year and then added on, but we had got a 7-year renewal at our office. So for the offices that are hearing this, are like, our patients would never prepay that far. Yes, they will. Maria, that C.A. I told you about, that has been with C.A. for over 24 years. Last year in this program, she just got her first 5-year renewal, and now she's getting multiple ones this month. The patients will absolutely do it. And I mean, because we refunded them if they didn't use it, I felt that was a steal of the savings for them, right? Yeah. I think sometimes I just have to break past the doctor's own limiting beliefs that that's okay to offer their patients that for that long. Because sometimes I can tell doctors feel like that's a disservice somehow, some way. And I'm like, why? Why would it be if they're trusting enough that you're going to take care of them? And not only that, the longer they're under care with you, the more likelihood they're going to refer somebody else to your office, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you get the influx in cash where you can spend on staff or marketing or whatever, or save it, invest, doesn't matter. It's there. Maybe open up a second location because your C.A.s are doing 7-year prepayment plans and you got the cash flow to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say always go bigger than you think. Because if the patient doesn't want to do it, they'll tell you, right? Like I have an office right now for Black Friday. They're doing like 12 visit packages with massage. And I said, offer them a 24. Like, why not? Like start with that. And then if it doesn't work, you can always go down for them. But why not like take care of them for a year or give them a time frame, like 6 months, whatever it may be. Because people also feel more solid with that when they know they're just like taken care of.
Yeah. Okay. So do you ever... Yeah, no, there is, and I love it. I love your energy. I love what you're about. People, go follow her now. If not, then you're an idiot. But so with doing a 7-year or whatever, multiple year prepayment, how many times have people just came in for 1, 2, 3 adjustments and they're like, why do I need to come back? Like Dr. Shaboinky is just doing these crack videos in North Dakota and the person looks fine. Like, have you ever had a scenario like that where people don't believe in long-term care?
Do you see how when we were doing the role play and I even said like how I've been a patient for 8 years and I said the real magic happens in maintenance care and I've just seen my body like constantly. The biggest thing is, so in that particular case, our patient would have been probably a corrective care patient that was under care for 4 months or so. Every visit, we're planting seeds. We're making a referral statement. We're making an education statement. We're saying you're in the right place. So we start with a really, really strong foundation, even at the new patient phone call, even with the new patient paperwork. Like it's all leading up to where the patient like isn't surprised and knows about ongoing and the magic and the longevity of it. I would say with the renewals, when they would do the multi-year, we really did only have people that would stop, like if they moved, which that's why I say that line, because the only reason you would ever stop care is because you moved to Hawaii, right? Like even that, I'm planting a seed and being intentional with my words, because if I just said, if for whatever reason you stop care, the patient could be like, well, why would I stop care? What do you mean? Well, I answer that by saying, because you moved to Hawaii, right? That's the only reason you would. There have been times though where patients have had like financial hardships or something, came up, and we discuss that when that happens. I would say the biggest transition is when someone's going from corrective care to like a maintenance or a wellness. Well, they'll ask those questions about the ongoing. And so a couple tips or tricks I would say is, normally if a patient's not sure if it's kind of working for them, it's around the second or third adjustment. So I mentioned we were in NUCA office. So, same thing like you said with your first adjustment, you kind of felt gypped. You were like, what just happened, right? They didn't even adjust me. Well, I pre-frame that and I cut that off at the head when I'm in the reported findings. I say, when I first got adjusted, I thought like, boop, it was magic. I was like, are you a witch? Like, what just happened? But then I went home and I slept for the first night and my insomnia got better. So you're going to feel like you might stand up straighter right away, or it might take some time. Just trust the process. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. So I kind of am pre-framing the entire time so that the patient feels at ease. And then we also have them fill out a little check-in on their third visit, because we noticed that when patients were starting to maybe drift off or say this isn't working, it was around the fifth visit. And so what we did is we had them fill out a form that asks specific questions so that we know how they're feeling, and then we can again pre-frame or educate them. And then we noticed that stopping. There's something I was going to say about and another thing that I would say if I was in that area when someone's thinking that they don't need this, or they're saying, well, that doctor only has them come in once in a while. They're like, okay, well, did they take x-rays? Did they do a nerve scan? Like what does their ongoing look like? I have all these books of testimonials. I know what's changed in my own body. And you could brush your teeth once a week or you could brush your teeth once a month or after every meal. Like what is better for your body, for your soul, right?
That's a valid point.
Yeah. With the teeth analogy, what I usually will say if someone's not thinking about going into maintenance is I'll say, do you or someone have had braces, right? It's just like anything, like corrective care is like the braces. It's more expensive, I should say more expensive, but it costs you a little bit more, but it gets your teeth aligned, it gets your spine aligned. And then maintenance is like the retainer. If you stop wearing your retainer after just spending $8,000 on braces, what do you think is going to happen to your teeth? And the patient always says, well, move. And I'm like, but not right away, right? All of a sudden that retainer is not going to fit like it used to. Imagine your entire spine. If that happens with your teeth, what's going to happen with your spine? So that's why it's so important that you stay in maintenance and get your spine realigned, basically.
I love it. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you have 6 types of genius working?
Oh, okay. So that actually, I need to update that. When I first started this program, I had my one-to-one clients do this 6 types of working genius test. It's not my test. It's actually, I found it from a book and podcast. And so I do recommend it. It's not my program, but it is something that, how we talked about those types and how you hire the different levels of C.A.s or personality types. There's also things that we love doing or that light us up naturally that we enjoy doing. There's things that we can do, but don't necessarily enjoy doing it. And then there's the things that we like hate doing that we'll put off on the back burner. Right. Yeah. And so to have that aligned team, you want to have somebody who has their working genius. I think there's 4 or 6, it's been a while since I did it, zones. And so you want to have everybody have their genius in that zone. And an example, I do recommend doing it. Like I said, it's not my program, but when I had a doctor do this test with his team, this was a doctor that I thought for sure that his zone was like, I forgot the names, but it's like a motivation. Like he was someone who was really motivating, really hoorah type of doctor. And when he took the test, that was actually his working frustration.
Oh, really?
And yes. And what came out was that he felt like he was the only person on his team that would do it. So he was doing it because he had to. And this was silently draining him and his energy. And ironically, it turned out that one of his C.A.s that was her working, like what lit her up.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh, wow. So sometimes it's just taking certain tasks and shifting them. And that's where you also get more productive. So like I said, the goal is to also be more efficient and to put teammates in the areas that they like naturally lights them up and doesn't frustrate them.
I love it. Do you have, like, if somebody is like in an interview process for a CA, like what are like 3 like red flags, just like hair stands up back of your neck and you're like, this is not a good fit?
Actually, I had this happen at an office. And the office, I say this with love, especially if they listen, the office went against my advice and hired them, and the CA got let go and ended up taking them to the labor board, and they had to pay that CA. Yeah, and it wasn't a way, I don't believe that they should have, because she was honestly let go because she should have been let go. But basically what had happened was at the interview process, when I was talking to her, when I asked her why she wasn't at her previous positions anymore, there was always a reason, like someone else's fault. There wasn't any accountability that was taken, like, oh, I left because of this or that. And there was just this, and it wasn't very obvious, but there was this way where it just felt like there was an excuse or a reason. And I was like, she's going to do the same thing at your office. Mm-hmm. So that is definitely a red flag, because that legitimately happened. Another red flag, but this is coachable. So I always ask, like, what caught your eye about the ad, or what caused you to come into the office? And you need to pause and really listen. And if the potential interviewee is talking about them, what works for me, it's close to my house. Well, I'm a people person, and this is exactly what I want, and the hours, and I. That's also a red flag, because that's all about them. Now, in that moment, very nice and gentle, but blunt, is as a coach, I would say, let me ask you. So your responses were very like I-centric, and I say that with love. And so that is a little bit of a concern for me, because really the patients, it's about the patients and loving on them. So I don't even know, maybe it wasn't realized that's how it came across. So let's talk about that a little bit. And I would kind of see what their response is back. Because sometimes people will be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. I'm just nervous. I'm so sorry. You're totally right. Like, thank you for sharing that. And I'm like, okay, they're coachable and they're going to take things with grace, right? Because I'm nice. I'm not mean when I say it. Or they get on the defense. Well, I didn't mean that. Or what do you mean? Well, you asked me a question. I'm like, okay, you're not a good fit, right? You'll be a great fit someplace else, just not here. So that would definitely be a red flag. And then this may sound kind of silly, but one question I always ask during an interview is I say, okay, so Robert, I want to know the real. And I don't want to get you to give me some BS answer that everybody usually does. I want to know what you suck at, what you are like, absolutely like, I need to get better. And I'm talking about like, you're late all the time, or you suck at math, or your work desk is always messy. Like, don't tell me you multitask or you're too organized. Like, what do you really, really could get better at? And this is an interesting question, because I want to see the CAs that are going to be honest and vulnerable and say, you know what, I could be better at time management. Because a lot of people would think like, oh, well, I don't want to hire that person. But I'm like, if they are vulnerable enough to be honest in that moment, then I know they're coachable, and I know they're going to go far at an office. And if they don't, if they do give me some BS answer, then I'm like, okay, that's a red flag, because you can't let your barriers down. So how are the patients going to connect with you? If you're giving me and I know an interview is an interview, right? But even like this, if I was just reading off a script or giving you a cookie cutter answer, this wouldn't be real. So that's what I want to see.
I love that. That, I don't know a lot of people that do that.
Right?
Yeah, that's really. People take notes. Share this with your CA. If your CA is not listening by now, then fire them. And I'm not responsible for any people being fired. But,
so legal disclaimer real quick.
Legal. But all right. So you're in beautiful sunny California.
Mm-hmm. Not so sunny right now, but there's a little bit of peak of sun. So yes.
Fair enough. We only got gray skies right now in Montana. So
yeah.
When you're not coaching C.A.s, like who's Miranda not the chiropractic assistant coach?
Ooh, great question. Well, right now, full transparency, I'm very much living my business, and I do love what I do. Like, I feel like I'm kind of always on because it really is genuinely a passion of mine, and the creativity, and I love creating things, right? Like we're international now, and I love that. But actually, I have a practice right here. It's my beautiful partner, Erica, me and her, and we moved
Awesome.
to El Dorado Hills because her family's out here. And so something for us right now outside of the office is we're actually working on starting our family.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So really, really, really looking forward to that and that new chapter. We have a Great Dane and a little Frenchie that are absolutely my world. So we're outside walking them in the beautiful hills out here. And just kind of, I would say right now I'm building a lot with this business, but next comes that stage of being a mom and just being creative and growing with that.
I love that. That's
Thank you.
amazing. You have a Great Dane and a Frenchie. Does the Frenchie beat up on the Great Dane?
Yes, the little dog thinks he's a big dog, and the big dog thinks he's a small dog. And they're both like that light gray color called a blue, and they have a white patch on their chest. Have you ever seen the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito?
I don't think I have.
Okay, you have to Google it after this, and if you can put little GIFs in here or whatever, I would add it, like pop it up somewhere if you can. But that's exactly what they look like. They look like the movie Twins.
That's awesome.
They look like they're related, but they're obviously not because of their size.
No, I get what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
I love Frenchies. They are like, people are like, they're ugly. I was like, they're ugly, but they're cute in all the right ways.
Okay, so real talk, I thought they were the ugliest dogs before I got them. I did not want, my girlfriend wanted a Frenchie so bad, and I was like, what? I'm like, they're ridiculously overpriced, right? Which, by the way, for the record, pro tip, I actually got mine off Craigslist for like 50% off, which sounds sad because I'm talking about a dog, but go to Craigslist if you guys have that out there instead of like just saying. But I did not think that they were cute. I wanted a Great Dane. My girlfriend was okay with a Great Dane. And ironically now, the Great Dane is more attached to her and the Frenchie is attached to me. So go figure.
Oh, man.
I love them though now.
Yeah, I love them. I travel so much where I'm like, I don't want to get a dog because
I was going to ask if you had one.
Yeah. And now I'm trying to restructure everything where I don't travel, at least not as much. I'm over it. I don't want to do it anymore. It was fun in the beginning, but
or get a small dog that can travel with you. I mean, we're a little bit hindered by our travel with our Dane.
That is true.
Obviously. I would say maybe when you can travel with possibly, or have a really good house sitter, so then you feel secure when you're traveling that your pup's taken care of,
That's a valid point. So I just had a question on top of my head and it went out the window. But all right. So you said that your 42nd birthday is coming up.
December 9th.
You're looking like you're 28. What is your Did you say thanks to chiropractic?
I did. I think you're going to ask me something though. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, what is your skincare routine?
Oh my gosh. Chiropractic care. Yeah, but you see how it's like, because it's so ingrained in me. I'm like, there's always a way to like bring it back to chiropractic, right? But I would probably genuinely say that. But honestly, when I was in San Francisco, I had a really good facialist, and I would go see her like once a month. And I haven't since I moved out here to El Dorado Hills. I'm still looking for a really good one. And I've actually seen the change in my skin since. So what I will say is, what is it? Like anything, prevention, right? You can circle that back into chiropractic. Me going for prevention to my facialist once a month did help me look younger. So like I could totally tie that back into chiropractic too. I don't know.
That's fair. So I know that you had like the nightclub managing skills and all that stuff. When you were being a CA, and maybe for a new CA who's listening to this right now, like, and they're like, oh, Miranda's just so perfect. She's easy. Like she can sell anything. Did you ever fumble on scripts or selling or care plans or yada, yada, yada? And if you did, how did you overcome that and be the CA coach?
So I always talk about like getting your reps in, right? And doing the role play. And the only way that you make it so ingrained in you that it's muscle memory almost. Like, so it's just instinctual and it's natural and it doesn't feel like a certain way. But like in order to get to that level, you got to get the reps in. You got to do it. You've got to practice. Otherwise it's just won't become ingrained in you. It's like, thinking you could get 6-pack abs by, watching a YouTube video or like doing it sporadically and not looking at the form. And that's another thing is it's like, yeah, you can get a script, but just like someone can show you how to do a sit up, but when you actually like are intentional with it and you're focusing on your muscles, when you're focusing on your words in the script, it hits differently. I just had a trainer who was amazing, and he would be like telling me like, oh, you're supposed to feel it in this area. And I'm like, I don't feel it there. Like he'd be giving me some rep and then I get it just right. And I'm like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be feeling. I've been doing it wrong this whole time. And I had no freaking clue. The same thing with like our words, but we just got to go through, like I had to do the reps to figure out I was doing it wrong until I felt it. Right. And so I 100% have stumbled multiple times, put my foot in my mouth, made mistakes. But I think the biggest advice and how I overcame it was like, I'm freaking human, and CAs, you guys, and doctors, you guys are human. You're going to make mistakes. And when you do, just own up to it and tell a patient, like, you come across as salesy, be like, oh my, I care so much about you. And that's why I'm bugging you, or that's why I'm doing this, or, oh my God, I totally messed up, or, I don't know what to say right now. I just know I need to help you. I don't know how I'm going to help you, but I'm going to help you, be vulnerable, be real. Like sometimes we got to shed that feeling of being professional, sweat a little. It's okay. And if you aren't sweating a little, then you're probably not freaking trying hard enough, honestly, you should have patients mad at you from time to time, or people like confused or whatever it is, because that's how you grow, so just really lean into that. Most mistakes aren't not fixable. There's some that are obviously like in this world, but especially when it comes to your words and talking to patients, you could always say sorry, or go back and just have another conversation. So like it's okay to mess up. If you're messing up, that means you're doing something right too,
That's right. Have you ever had a patient come back and burn down the office because you were trying to sell a care plan?
No, never. Like, I don't even think, me personally too, and I was the one that really, really talked to patients about financials. Like I went in on financials with patients. I've never got a bad Yelp review. I've never got a, really like a complaint when it came to financials. I mean, I'm trying to think if I got some other complaints. Sometimes I could be a little bit, there was one particular patient I know sometimes I had to work on my own barriers because I could get defensive like in the beginning. So I did a lot of, I had to like smash a lot of like my own beliefs and money mindset and all that kind of stuff, or like say like, oh crap, I was wrong, or I am defending too much about something like here, and do a lot of self-work for sure. But I've never had a patient that, and I always say, like, what's the worst case scenario? Well, even with that worst case scenario, okay, what's the best case? Like, the best case is always going to outweigh. I will share, there is one thing that I think of a mistake. And this is why I always say when like role playing, like, you know how we role played earlier, and I like grabbed a pen and grabbed this. Like, it's so ingrained in me now. Even if I'm role playing a fake new patient phone call, I tell the CAs write it down. There was this patient that came into our office, it was a walk-in. I was like talking with him. I was just like so excited, and I got him scheduled, and I didn't get his number, and he didn't show up for his appointment. And it still, like, to this day bugs me because I couldn't contact him. And I remember just like being so excited, and I could tell he like needed the care. He had a great personality, and he just like ghosted, but we couldn't contact him. And I was like, crap. And that was like such a simple fix. But that's again, like, because of that, I never didn't forget a number again, you know? So it's okay. Like, those mistakes are always there to teach us something. And usually there's a reason behind it.
Yeah. Wow. Which, so something so simple as just forgetting to grab a phone number. Wow. But
yeah, and I've done every mistake in the book, like, I've made it, and I always say that. But and I see it, like, you just got to get through it and go through it, and you will get like better and better. I promise you.
Yeah. All right. So on, like, today's Friday. Do you have any plans? Like, what's your Friday nights like to look at? Like, is it going out to a nice restaurant? Is it just staying home and watching Netflix? Is it prepping for the next week?
That is a great question. So right now, in this particular time, you know, because you got to ask about my first to know wall, I'm definitely prepping for Black Friday, and I have some things that are coming up that I'm launching. And so I'm in that like creative process. And like I said, I enjoy creating like things and seeing it come together, and Canva and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of is, my girlfriend will say I'm in my office way too much right now. But when I do peel myself away, we are big foodies. We do love to travel. We had just we did a family trip a few months ago to Barcelona and Spain, went to Australia a couple of years ago. So soon I really would love to plan a vacation, just like a fun trip, and kind of like work towards that. But we are big foodies, so we'll go out to restaurants, experience good food. We do love binging Netflix and things like that, and kind of getting into the shows. And it's nice to kind of have some, when your brain's like kind of on a lot, it's nice to kind of have some things where you can just kind of relax and cuddle on the couch with like the dogs and just kind of veg out a little bit, as I would say. I definitely used to go out a lot because I was in nightlife. So especially in San Francisco, like I'd be out flyering or networking and talking the talk. But nowadays I would say I'm more a little bit chill and just enjoying the stay at home life too.
I love that. All right. Well, Miranda, thank you so much for your time. I learned a lot. I know other people will learn a lot. Again, your Instagram is the Chiropractic Assistant.
It's at Chiropractic Assistant. And I did, if it's okay, I want to be a woman of my word. Can I just quickly share what happened with my grandma before because I never.
No, absolutely. Yes.
I don't know if anybody hanging, or maybe I should for like episode 2. Maybe it would be smart to do a curiosity.
Yeah, I love it.
There's more. But I think especially for the CAs that are listening, this is so important to really like take in like the difference. Like, even if you are thinking like I'm just the front desk right now, like, God, you're so much more. And I'm going to butcher the like technical, clinical details of this. But a couple of months ago, my grandma, she's this tough little German lady that's like in her 90s, like a spitfire of energy. Okay. Like, she's like my favorite person in the whole wide world. And she started getting these really, really horrible migraines, like horrible, right? And it was so bad that my aunt took her to the ER. She ended up in the hospital, and it got to the point where she actually asked the doctors to put her on a do not resuscitate order.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine that every time, like, I'm part of the family thread, like every time the phone dinged, like I wasn't, you know, just terrified of what we were going to see. And there was no like answer for it. And she was just like, I'm old, I'm done, I live my life, like freaked out. And so I called, and I'll give him a shout out, Dr. Scott Baker, who's amazing over in Spartanburg. My grandma's in North Carolina too, so she's not on this side. And he was about two and a half hours from her. And I was like, what can you do? Please help me. And so got my aunt to basically kidnap my grandma out of the hospital because she didn't want to leave, throw her in the car, drive 2.5 hours. And when he adjusted her, they basically, the C.A.s told me they brought her in like on a wheelchair, and she like left a different person, like 100%. I guess there was something, and this is why I'm going to butcher the clinical aspect. There's basically a little hole that was in her atlas, or it was leaking fluid into her brain pretty much. And that was causing her horrible migraines. And this is what pissed me off is she was at the hospital, medical doctors, ER, everybody out there. Do you think one single person freaking referred her to a chiropractor?
Nope.
No. And she has headaches, migraines. She's in pain. There's this video, and I played before. My grandma's like in the hospital bed going like, please make it stop. Please make it stop. And it's like the most, I can't get it out of my head. Like that sound of someone in that much pain. If I wasn't her granddaughter, she'd either still be in that hospital or passed away. Only because I'm a chiropractic assistant coach, did I know to refer her to a chiropractor. Nobody else would have. And so she's driving, my aunt drives basically 5.5 hours round trip to go get adjusted 2 times a week. So also too, for the C.A.s on here that are listening and the doctors that are like, I don't want somebody driving that far to me, or I'll refer them out, or they can. If I'm like, this is, if my family can do that. And my grandma even had texted afterward, or my aunt said, well, now grandma's saying it's not working and she wants to stop. And again, what do you think I did? Because I'm I said like, you gotta keep going. Like so when I say like, treat every patient like my grandma, like somebody you care about, like what would you want them to be told, to be shared? Would you let them stop? Like those C.A.s know to never let my grandma stop. You know what I mean? Because they care about her just as much now and want to see those changes. So I just wanted to share that real quick and say like what's possible, because there's my grandma's in your town. They just need you to help them.
Oh my, I love that story so much. That is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. That is one reason, like stories like that is why I want to help chiropractors change the narrative of the mainstream media on what chiropractic is, and not have chiropractors sell out and devalue the sacred adjustment. Like, because I was someone who believed if I went to a chiropractor, I would die. Which,
that's great.
Yeah, it was just a belief that was inserted to me when I was younger, and I just believed it.
Because somebody that. I didn't mean it's crazy that you thought that. I meant that like that the society, that's the narrative that is thought about in the world, and that so many people could have like said, hey, like actually, did you know this, or like been there like to help you with that. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, maybe it puts you on the bigger mission with what you're doing now. So, but I am sorry that you had to go through that when you were younger.
Yeah, thank you. Like, because I struggled with addiction for years because I was just looking for something, like looking for a fix, because it wasn't through the medical society. So I don't know for a fact, but I would say, because like alcoholism and drug addiction like runs in my family, like in general.
My mom dealt with that too. So yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah. But like for me, I know I started numbing my body because the pain in my shoulder was so bad. Because I was going to PTs, I was going to doctors, I was going doctor after doctor, and they're like, oh, just do this. I'm like, well, the pain's still there. Like, obviously something's wrong. And then years later, gone. And like, I forget what shoulder I had the pain in for over a decade in my shoulder, like, because it's just gone. I'm like, what shoulder was it again? I don't remember, because the pain's not there. So you keep doing the good work. Keep teaching CAs how to sell and show the importance in chiropractic care. Every DC should send their CA to Miranda because she's changing lives. So keep it up. Miranda, is there any closing words that is just on your heart that you feel like you need to share?
Oh my goodness. For some weird reason, I want to say I love everybody. I don't know why, but that popped in my head to share. But especially as to just love on the patients around you, to love on your staff, to treat your staff and each other like your teammates. Sometimes we can be irritated or, rub each other the wrong way, but really like they're your teammates, not just staff, and that support system to really support your team in their outside goals as well as their inside goals, and to really trust that everybody is there to help support and on that greater mission, to not be scared and to be vulnerable with each other, because that's only going to bring you guys closer, and just to stay open and stay vulnerable, I would say, because that's also going to make you bring so much into your life that you weren't expecting. So I did not plan on saying that, but that's what popped in my head since you asked me.
I love it. All right, guys, go follow her, go check out her courses. And until next